6911758. This message will repeat. It doesn't add up begins momentarily. Please ensure arms, legs, and headphones are secure at all times. 6911758. This message will repeat. It doesn't add up begins. Please ensure arms, legs, and vicinity are secure at all times.
Hello and welcome to It Doesn't Add Up, a conspiracy theory podcast. It has been almost a year.
It's been a time.
Which was never the intention. Each episode has gotten further and further apart, so I'm thinking after this one, our next one won't be for maybe 24 months. I don't know. It's sort of like exponential growth, but horrible.
Maybe 2 months, maybe one.
Yeah, because the original plan for this one was like, oh yeah, we'll record a bunch like right in a row, and then we'll actually have them so we can actually have a schedule and space them out. And so far that has not gone well either. So this is going to be an episode, and it'll be released, and that's what's going to happen, I guess.
Take more time on these episodes than we always think we do.
Yeah.
We joke that it's just reading Wikipedia articles, and it's not just that.
But anyway,
we've been doing that.
So we're back with an episode. But it's probably going to be something that people have encountered before. So we should probably just get into it with Givenchy ass.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys were around in 2017. I was kind of there, only a little. But there was this conspiracy theories went a little viral. People got into them, not in the level that we got into them, but there was a popular Twitter thread, ass, which is apparently a really popular Twitter account. I wasn't aware, but I was telling my friend we were doing this episode, and he was like, oh yeah, I love that Twitter account. And I was like, are you messing with me? Really big Twitter who does a lot of threads, so they're known for this, so maybe they're a little credible. So maybe we should take this a little more seriously than we might.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys know this.
This is news to me. Oh, wow. I didn't realize we were...
Yeah.
Okay.
Thread expert. A thread spurt? I don't know.
That was, that was Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread. He was a thread spurt.
I don't know if you guys know this, but...
It's a joke for movie buffs. Yeah.
The many movie buffs that watch us.
Hey, Movie Pass is out there, man. There's a lot more of us now all of a sudden.
Movie Pass is out there, and they're loving it. I need to get on Movie Pass.
Yeah, before they're friggin' bankrupt. All right, so
you know who else is probably bankrupt?
Who's that?
Avril Lavigne.
I thought she's doing good. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah.
Been dead since 2003.
Well, I mean, yeah, if she's been dead since 2003, there might be some complications there.
I mean, her estate might have some money, but actually the person that holds all her money right now is her doppelganger named Melissa Vandella.
Okay.
So back in 2003, back when Avril Lavigne was like queen of everything, the pop punk princess.
Sure, something corporate.
Hated the fame. Deal. Like most of us can't, I don't think. Us with our internet fame. We're dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Can't deal with the attention. But she got so overwhelmed, and when she was recording her second album, her grandfather died. Her grandfather was apparently her best friend.
We've all been there.
And she just... Everyone's grandfathers died.
No, that we've just been best friends with our grandfathers.
Yeah, is the best. I really thought you were taking that down that morbid everybody dies route.
No.
He died. And then she didn't follow. She followed pretty closely behind.
That's a weird way to put it, but okay.
she did. She couldn't deal. She had some troubling recording sessions trying to finish the fourth album, which she apparently did finish, but before all the press and all that could be done on herself, apparently. And apparently the handle Avril Lavigne killing herself, it would have been like a travesty like Kurt Cobain, according to some sources.
Yeah.
Some sources said that. We'll get into that. But apparently her friend, and they thought it was hilarious that they looked alike. So they had previously gone through and had done training as a joke, for funsies. Some training.
Okay, yeah, fun thing to do. Sure.
Teach her how to emulate Avril and sing like her and be like her. And so all the press was finished by Melissa Vandella. Photos and interviews that apparently back up these claims, because apparently Avril Lavigne's appearance had changed by the time she was doing press for her second album. There's a lot of people that claim they can see differences. They can see jawline differences, eyeline differences, even differences in the handwriting. Hitting of
The
all.
jawline very distinctive on Avril Lavigne. Everybody knows her jawline from a mile away.
Crisp jawline, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But the most hard hitting was the lyric hints.
Oh.
Avril, they changed some lyrics before the album went live. And so I just want to give you some tidbits that the internet has picked up on and has found to be hints as to some little hints to what's going on, what they've been doing.
Yeah, subtext, a deep reading. Yeah.
Oh, it's not deep. They admitted it. And all us sheeple, as this article that we had called us sheeple. They said the conventional reality that the mainstream media has been spoon feeding us sheeple for a decade and a half is that Avril Lavigne is still alive. But anyway, into the lyrics. But he's home. It starts with, I couldn't tell you why she felt that way. She felt it every day, and I couldn't help her. I just watched her make the same mistakes again.
So the her is, of course, the double.
Bean.
So
this is Melissa.
Oh, this is Melissa. She's talking about Avril.
Songs released in 2004, but Avril died in 2003.
I see. I got it. Okay.
So Avril did most of the material on the album, except for some of these little hints here.
Right.
She's talking about Avril's clear depression that drove her over the edge to follow her grandfather.
Just like Death Cab for Cutie said.
Into the dark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is getting real bad. We have another song, My Happy Ending. I loved this song. I really did. I thought
that was a catchy one, yeah.
Bop, if you will. That's not what a bop is, but it was good. It was a deep cut. But it starts with the line, I don't know if you all recall this. Let's talk this over. It's not like we're dead.
Was it something I did or was it something you said, right?
Next line is, don't leave me hanging.
Oh, and she hanged herself. Got it.
In a city so dead. Lost it. They went completely. How could we have overlooked this line?
Yeah, wow, she really put it all out there.
Don't leave me hanging.
Sure. It's not just a common phrase or anything. It was a key to the suicide there.
And that's pretty much what the internet has. There's no evidence as to who Melissa Vandella is, but the thread did call this out. They asked the question, find anything on Melissa Vandella. No social media. There's nothing out there on Melissa Vandella as a person. But despite that, we know that there is a Melissa somewhere in Avril Lavigne's life. This isn't just some made up fictional figment. This is no conspiracy. There is a picture floating out there of Avril Lavigne with the word Melissa written on her hand.
Huh.
To be Avril as Melissa because the face changes have taken place. The plastic surgery procedures that have been deeply documented on the internet with the doctors that have even gone through those procedures. And as undetailed as this is, many popular, even reputable news sources that have reported on this, to name a few, Rolling Stone, Teen Vogue, and Vice. Which maybe they're not CNN or NBC News or anything, but
in the music world, I mean,
thing. You usually would trust them. You wouldn't expect them to report about death hoaxes.
Well, except maybe the whole Keenan and Kel thing in the late 90s, but sure.
I bet that's another conspiracy. I think Keenan and Kel were also in on this. But we'll get into further celebrity dupes getting into it. But that's all that Twitter thread really had on it.
Yeah, they were trying to look at the birthmarks on her arm.
No, actually, that's another thing we have to get into.
Oh, that wasn't in the same thread? That was the
Twitter thread. No, her birthmarks were actually brought up in this Brazilian fan site that reportedly broke this news.
Right.
Because those news articles were saying, oh, this conspiracy is back. I've already been thinking this prior to 2017, prior to Givenchy Ass's Twitter thread.
Tell me about this blog. What happened on this weird blog, this Brazilian blog?
It was this Brazilian fan site that basically started calling out these changes that Avril was making. They were an Avril Lavigne fan, and they were just saying things have changed. And I don't think Avril's turning her back on us. I think someone's replaced her. And they pointed out her nose was different. Her seemed different. Found that this blog got so much heat for this and spawned all these rumors. Snopes had to call him out.
Oh, our friend Snopes, the Mythbusters of the internet age.
The world.
Yeah.
They claim that July 2015, back from the 2012, in 2015, so Fort originally made this blog, Avril está morta, which I think means Avril is dead.
I believe you're correct there, yeah.
talks about how they ended up making a statement admitting that the theory was completely fabricated as an object lesson in internet misinformation and rumor. Apparently, they just wanted to show how can make conspiracy theories look so real. However, I want to argue down the original Avril Lavigne site.
Mm-hmm.
The statement isn't over that website. You can only find this statement on Snopes.
Right. So this blog is just if you found this blog, you would still think that they were promoting this theory.
On that blog. It's nowhere attached. You can really only find this statement through Snopes. And so that's it. There was also another website that reported on the death of Avril Lavigne that was mentioned in the Snopes article, that specifically specializes in allowing you to make fake news reports, specializing in celebrity deaths via snowboarding accidents.
That's pretty damn
Nothing
specific.
Else. And Avril Lavigne was apparently one of the victims of not a snowboarding accident, but the hoaxes.
Oh, okay.
Basically what you can find on the internet out there. We also found a gem from someone else who stumbled upon these threads. This is prior to the Twitter thread. This was on a forum site from a lovely gentleman called Godlike Productions. I believe they are fellow believers in conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this site is a treasure trove of the insane, I would say.
It's like Reddit, but more pure.
Yeah, it's pure, uncut insanity. Like, I was on this site for, like, you heard me, I was on this site for, like, 15 minutes, and I felt my, mental faculties wavering, and, yeah, it's...
some of their thoughts, because it's always good to get more than your own perspective on things.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to read you. So the thread starts with, probably nobody will give a fuck, but I came across a website that claims singer Avril Lavigne and was replaced.
Oh, suicided. Yep. Mm-hmm.
First comment on this goes, particularly, I think that the odds are that she was just Stepforded. I'm not sure. He doesn't elaborate further, but she was Stepforded with a new altar because she's obviously a monarch doll. But we will never know.
Right. So this is the whole thing where these dudes become convinced that every single pop star that has ever existed is part of the, continues to be part of the MK Ultra CIA mind control project. Any references to butterflies, will just dive deep into their lyrics. If they talk about the self and, like, not knowing and, like, any kind of uncertainty or anything that could maybe even have a hint of mental confusion is, she's being mind controlled. The government, she's a government agent. She's a sleeper cell. She's crying out for help in these song lyrics because she's part of the MK Ultra. So she's a monarch doll is what that refers to.
Yes. I think we'll get into that in another episode.
Oh, definitely. Because you can just, if you go on to like if you go onto any music video of like Katy Perry or whoever, you'll find these comments where it's like just somebody going into these lyrics and like, yeah, like the imagery here, see the butterfly, this is MK Ultra, blah, blah, blah. They just go off the deep end like immediately with this stuff.
It's pretty wild. And I think we should unpack it, but another day.
Mm-hmm.
Into some of the other thoughts, which are, so some of the follow-up comments are, there is no percentage in faking something like that. Death often equals money for many people. Sure.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I feel like they're missing some words, but death often equals money for many people.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a funeral director, I guess death equals money, but yeah.
Insurance, bounty hunt, or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then another person says, Avril Lavigne, incorrectly, secret record, even if faked, would make more money than her doppelgangers, plural, would have. So why bother trying? Who benefits most from it? Making a little money, say an agent, but it hardly seems worth the risk.
Okay. I don't what is the secret record? I don't understand.
And that's really what intrigues me about these comments is like they all seem to be talking about something different on the same thread.
Yeah.
I feel like we missed a prior thread, but this is an original thread. This is a new one.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of dudes like
record?
It's like everybody having a conversation with themselves, like loosely related.
Person says, this could be true. Look up the error.
Mm-hmm.
She was keeping her relationship with that guy from Nickelback a secret. This could have something to do with it. Asked earlier today.
Well, if you heard it on a podcast, you got to go with it. I think we proved that.
Podcast. Of course, we're the most reputable.
And I also understand wanting to keep your relationship with Chad Kroeger of Nickelback a secret. I get that. I mean, we've all been in situations where we didn't want to admit that we liked Nickelback.
Felt attraction to the ramen head.
Yeah.
My question though is that I I don't believe that that was a secret. I feel like we all knew, and we all lost a little respect for Avril Lavigne because of it.
Yeah, especially after she went from the Sum 41 dude. I mean, who has his own issues, like he was hospitalized for like years or whatever. But
Guess she
yeah.
got a little in too deep with him.
Oh my God. Ugh.
Sound effect. We need that drum. We need that drum kick. But tish. We'll work on it. We're low budget right now.
I think it's funny that the best work that Nickelback ever produced was the Look at This Graph Vine.
I feel like we should insert that here. And then just a couple more comments. Just to get out of this godlike productions thread. Also, there's little chance they could keep something like Avril Lavigne hanging herself secret and completely out of the media. It would have been a shit show like Kurt Cobain. Not that Avril is as influential. I was curious because this thread didn't mention that Avril hanged herself. It just said she suicided.
Right, she suicided, yeah. But yeah, again, it's just every single dude is having, and they're all dudes, they're dudes. They're all just having a conversation with themselves.
Then there's some people that get a little reasonable. the only real benefit would be that the doppelganger could still tour and make buttloads of money that way. I think she just had a nose job. And there's another one. And that anything like this, including the Faul conspiracy, which we'll get back to.
Yes. It's
like that Mickey Mouse meme. Have you ever seen that? It's a tool that will help us later.
I haven't seen that one, no, but yeah.
Anything like this is just the artist selling their soul to the music industry and their way of letting the old go and letting the new monarch controlled be the new identity.
Oh, okay. So
what they get offered once they get a little bit of fame. Plenty have done it and some have admitted it.
Whenever this dude says that some have admitted it, he means that he found some weird esoteric lyric that he is linking back to MK Ultra, and that is that is admitting it apparently.
But I think the highlight of this thread is really some of our attitudes about it. Okay, I checked. I don't give a fuck about this.
It's probably a reasonable response. Yeah.
That's basically what you get out of Godlike Productions. And that's really all.
A forum that I have to say is claiming that they're getting like 2 million views a day.
Like counters were they were wild. It was great. It's like I want to know what kind of SEO they're doing to try to get that kind of traffic on my website. Maybe it's just the hard hitting content. Like maybe we need to get on that train.
I think it's just total fabrication. I think those numbers are not even inflated. I just think that they are fiction because there's no way.
We have one last thing on the Avril Lavigne situation here. We have a statement from Avril herself.
Oh, that'd be good. Well, is it Avril herself? I think that's the real question.
Well, it's from 2012, and considering she died in 2003, we may never know.
Yeah.
But she had this live interview where people asked her whether or not she was a clone, and she fumbled through the entire performance, and the statement she made neither confirms nor denies claims. She just says, "Aren't I?"
Well,
you can almost hear the silent wink that follows that, Like,
yeah.
Well, I'm here, but who is I'm?
Yeah, who is this? Who's the I?
At no point does she just say, yes, I am Avril Lavigne, the one that was born in, I almost said Canada.
Yes, sure. Yes.
Ooh, Canada.
Our friends to the north. All those Canadianians.
Flat out says, wow, that's fake, that's false. Nope, she just says, well, I'm here, aren't I? And I think that leaves more to the imagination than a real denier would.
I'm Avril, therefore I am, is I think how Descartes phrased that.
That's where we should put that issue to bed. Or not to bed, because I think it's still thriving. I think I'd love to hear some other thoughts on it, but we currently don't have any.
I think we've exhausted the Avril theories. Yeah.
But we could revisit another issue previously mentioned on the Godlike Productions site, Faul conspiracies, which I don't know if you know this. Faul stands for fake Paul. Who is Paul?
It's a lovely portmanteau, I have to say.
But what Paul?
Could it be
from the Beatles?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, could it have been like the biblical Paul? Maybe there was some sort of forgery, Jesus body swapping situation going on there. But no, I think it's just another messianic figure in Paul McCartney.
This theory has its own Wikipedia page, which is how you know it's golden.
Of course.
The page is just called Paul is Dead.
Paul is dead.
Wikipedia records it as an urban legend, and conspiracy theory.
Oh, we got a twofer.
I like that they have the balance. It's both an urban legend and a conspiracy. So they're They're not biased. They're letting you know. But it alleges that Paul McCartney of the English rock band The Beatles died in 1966 and replaced secretly by a lookalike. So I guess, where'd this come from? Who said Paul died? Because everyone knows that the one from the Beatles that died is John Lennon.
Right. At
least most people would know that, I would think. If you don't, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
I mean, George Harrison is also dead, but yeah, he was not. He was the one. He was the one that wasn't murdered. So
Paul and John were, and Ringo's just out here thriving.
He's having a good old time. He's on a submarine. He wears those little glasses. He's having a ball.
So where this one come from? Basically, in 1967, January of 1967, there was a rumor around London that Paul McCartney had been killed in a traffic accident. His car crashed. That's some great phrasing. Traffic accident in which his car crashed.
It's very granular.
And from there, some college kids, which is no longer us. I don't know if you guys know this. We no longer qualify as college kids.
We're just old and decrepit now.
Yeah, we're sad. Old college kids took it too far, and on September 17th, Tim Harper, the editor of the Drake Times Delphic, which is a student newspaper of the Drake University, published an article basically giving his conspiracy theory. Is Beatle Paul McCartney dead?
Now, there's this principle in journalism where if you see like a headline and they're asking a question, the answer is almost always no. It's just pure nonsense conjecture. I think
this is a valuable life lesson for us all to learn.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend last night about there's an article going around saying that pasta apparently doesn't make you fat. And it said, can pasta be the key to losing weight? And ultimately, the answer was no.
I should just start writing articles like that because every food under the sun has had that article written about it. You know, we're like, oh, beer is now good for you. Like all this nonsense.
And granule of like fiber that it has, and it's like, well, if you're lacking fiber, you could at least get some from beer.
Yeah.
But anyway, to get back to the Beatles, prefer pasta over the Beatles. Basically, there had been these rumors swirling around on campus that stemmed from the car crash rumors. The car crash rumors circulated from, but they just happened. I guess maybe some guy killed someone in a car accident and was like, oh yeah, it was Paul McCartney.
Right. Yeah.
Paul McCartney. But he didn't want the same notoriety as the guy who killed John Lennon did, I guess. They claimed that apparently, because I'm not sure exactly when the Beatles got started, I'm pretty sure it was prior to the 60s, but they were claiming that Beatles albums included a message they were placed in the Beatles. And that they had songs, much like the Avril lyrics were hinting at the fact that Avril had been...
Artists just love putting in weird messages in their art.
Missions to their deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
Because people don't totally dissect every inch of them.
Like, the rumor and the specific lyric was, apparently if you play Revolution 9 off the White Album backwards, it sounds like somebody's, I think it's John is saying, turn me on, dead man. And so this is apparently a reference to Paul being...
But, deep dead man.
Yeah.
There goes the walrus.
And if you do listen to it, it does sound like that's what somebody's saying. But of course, this is just Revolution 9, which is like a song that it's not even really a song. There's too much going on, and it's like a 10-minute song.
To hide things in.
Yeah. So.
Because who would think to play that backwards, except we did.
Except friggin' stoners and, hippies in the 60s.
Checkmate. But apparently, this was like a big problem, that Paul McCartney was being reported as dead. It was really harsh in their PR.
And it was harsh in their mellow.
So as early as October 10th of 1967, I believe, the Beatles press officer had to respond to the rumor, saying, recently we've been getting a flood of inquiries asking about the reports that Paul is dead. Questions like that for years, of course.
Sure, of course.
Of course is in his statement. And I just want to know why. See, because they're getting called out. But in the past few weeks, we've been getting them at the office and home night and day, and I've been even getting telephone calls from disc jockeys and others in the United States. Doesn't say no.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I was looking. He does not deny.
Deniability. He does not. He just says, yeah, we've been getting even more calls asking. But now there's more, and that's the statement. But Paul McCartney himself, whether or not this is his doppelganger or not, has even referenced this rumor himself. His 1993 live album, he called it Paul is Live. Paul is Live.
That's funny. I like that.
Theories. Paul is dead, Paul is live, Paul is live. And the cover art even parodies the reports that he had died in a car crash, which I think is pretty funny too. But we never know. Maybe it's like it's a very tongue in cheek type thing where it's like, yeah, Paul is dead, and this Paul is alive now because now I'm Paul. Outro from like Jimmy Neutron with like the three-eyed monkey that would go, "Hi, I'm Paul."
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And that's really all there is on the Paul is dead conspiracy. There are a lot surrounding the Beatles, but a lot of them get into like John Lennon and what the motives were and all that, and that's not really the focus of our show. So we're gonna,
Especially, yeah, that's something you don't want to get into, especially if you're a fan of J.D. Salinger. So
don't harsh my mellow man. You can't blame the work.
It's just kind of hard to argue whenever the killer claims that the work is what spurned him. You know, you got to get rid of those phonies.
I've read that book quite a many times, and I just want to say to kill John Lennon. Maybe it's because it's already been done.
Yeah,
it already happened.
You know, as an English major, I have of course read Catcher in the Rye, and nowhere do the words "kill John Lennon" appear in the text itself. I don't think we can blame
the guy
JD
seeks therapy, so I think that could be the lesson from there. It's like, seek help.
There you go.
Don't kill John Lennon. Seek. And that's our PSA for the episode. I don't know what's wrong with you, but seek help. A couple more modern pop culture references that don't get too deep into the monarch conspiracy theory, but are all about people not being who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys know Anton LaVey?
Of course. I reply.
Founder of the Church of Satan, which is apparently not that bad of a group. I've heard great things about the Church of Satan. People on Facebook love to reference it and say that it's so much better than like Christianism.
Christianism, yeah, sure. It depends on like what Church of Satan like thing you're following.
I'm personally not too familiar with which branch is Anton LaVey's.
Yeah, he was a dude that thought he could perform magic. So he was very occult.
I mean, don't we all kind of want to perform magic, though? Everyone's had their moments where they, like, predicted what commercial was going to be on TV next, or something weird. You knew what mom was making for dinner before you went downstairs. I think we've all had our own little magic.
Yeah, he was performing, like, sex magic, so a little different. He got involved in some weird rituals, part of which, one of them was to resurrect the goddess Babylon, with Jack Parsons, the rocket scientist. Well, not really scientist. He was like a rocket engineer, I guess. I'd love to get into that someday, because those two dudes were whacked out of their mind, and it's fascinating to read what they believed in and the weird rituals they try to perform.
I think that'll be another episode.
Yeah.
Anton LaVey also had a daughter named Xena. Not like the warrior princess, like Zeena.
Yeah, more it sounds like a pharmaceutical, but yeah.
It's like probably an allergy medication or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you know Xena. She's actually Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. Wait, what?
Taylor Swift is Xena, daughter of Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan. Taylor Swift is Xena LaVey because every blonde white woman who wears red lipstick and is kind of conventionally attractive is the same person. Read you a quote from the AV Club, which is where we found this gem of a conspiracy. Such physical resemblance is clearly an argument for cloning, naughty bread. Like bread, like breeding, not like
a baked good. Yes.
It is not an Illuminati feast of bread. It says the reasoning there is slightly more complicated. I just want to let you know there was no context to this. This is just how the article kind of starts.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift and Xena LaVey look the same, and then goes to. So I don't know what this Illuminati bread mean. Like what? It basically says there's a rich tradition of Illuminati conspiracy theories. Tons of famous people such as Britney Spears, Eminem, and even Avril Lavigne.
Oh, hey, we talked about that.
The reasoning for these supposed Illuminati clones varies. Sometimes they're to satisfy various world leaders' sexual perversions.
Right.
They're to replace a murdered famous person.
Mm-hmm.
And in other cases, they are to harvest organs, as seen in the Michael Bay film The Island.
Now, if you needed to harvest organs, why would you need a famous person for that?
Best organs.
Sure, but like you always see in the movies where some dude just wakes up in a bathtub filled with ice, and his spleen is gone. So I don't necessarily think you need Taylor Swift's appendix or liver. But hey, go for it.
Well, that's just it.
You don't ever get an appendix replaced. You just kind of get it taken out, right? Like you don't like need a new one.
Those things you can do without, like your tonsils.
Yeah.
And again, I think there were some articles saying actually maybe you need those.
Well, actually, I don't know. So maybe somebody does want Taylor Swift's appendix because I read this thing about oh my God, I can't remember people's names. Stan Lee. Stan Lee had his blood stolen, and
I saw that.
yeah, and so Stan Lee, he created a lot of the Marvel superheroes and properties. He's like 95 now, and apparently people have just been taking advantage of him in his old age, like just like horrible business deals, and they're like stealing all his money basically. And so apparently somebody stole his blood and used it to make an ink and signed a bunch of comics with it. And with letters of authenticity, started selling it at comic conventions. So that's cool, I guess. If you want an old man's dirty blood.
Oh, I need to know how is this product not like deep advertising, but did they say this was signed with Stan Lee's blood?
The way they phrased, like in this official letter of authenticity, Stan Lee donated his blood to be turned into this special ink. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Who just buys that? And who doesn't think oh wow, his blood. I always wanted Stanley's blood over these comics because he metaphorically put his blood, sweat, and tears into these comics, and now I have the real thing.
Yeah, but it didn't even say that he signed it. Like it's not even his signature. It's basically just a stamp.
His parents.
Yeah, it's so weird, and so it's even creepier. Because the way that this fake charity organization was operating was, they said that Stan Lee was moved by the tragic shooting in Vegas, and so he donated his blood for this reason. Because this shop that was selling it or whatever was based in Vegas, that was the connection there. But the proceeds weren't going to any charity or anything. It was just a weird place to mention the shooting.
A good idea.
Absolutely
for being topical.
Crazy.
That's all right. I don't even know if we can bring it back from that because the conspiracy theory here ends with the logic in this particular instance is even more convoluted than usual.
Mm-hmm.
But it says as Swift would actually be the clone of a significantly less famous person. But look, Illuminati are cloning people, and that Taylor Swift is one of them.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That's it.
I think they got their logic backwards. Sure, Taylor Swift might be a clone of a significantly less famous person, but the less famous person became one of the world's most famous people. Yeah. So I think in Xena's case, she upgraded substantially to become Taylor Swift. And I have to say, in the photos, there is a remarkable similarity between the two.
Between all blonde white women who are conventionally attractive and wear red lipstick.
Now, I don't want to be mean, but is Taylor Swift conventionally attractive? Because to me, she just kind of looks like a baby, like her face.
Hey, we could get into that whole culture of America, but I don't think we want to talk about that on this episode.
Okay, yeah, we're all right.
So, we're going to move on to another one.
To talking about another pop star that looks like a baby.
Tell!
Oh no. I did not realize the threads here, but okay.
Organize these in a logical fashion.
Oops.
Oops, I did it again. A la Britney Spears, another famous person who has been cloned.
And she also had a song, Hit Me Baby, one more time. So, it's all...
17.
It's all related into a
pedophilic
all
adds
stew.
Up.
Everybody knows Katy Perry, right? She's got that, she's on TV, she's got that new terrible haircut, right? So,
yeah.
This comes to us from the Esquire, but you can find this anywhere. The hot new conspiracy theory is that Katy Perry is John Benet Ramsey. And you know the story, John Benet was a 6-year-old girl from Boulder, Colorado, horrifically murdered and found in the basement of her family home. Still unsolved, nobody knows what happens. There's lots of just depressing theories about what happened to this poor girl. So this theory claims that John Benet's kidnapping and murder was faked, and that John Benet grew up to be one Catherine, middle name Perry. So, yeah. And really, the only evidence for it is this one YouTube video, which has since been taken down, but I did see it a couple of years back, of this guy just comparing photos of John Bonet and Katy Perry, and then John Bonet's parents and Katy Perry's parents, and saying, what do you think? Same, same. But of course, it takes about a second to refute this because John Bonet was born in 1990 and Katy Perry was born in 84. So, oops.
That's like those Facebook things where like it just overlays what are you gonna look like when you're older?
Yeah, or like it tries to
It's like
guess your age or whatever.
doppelganger. There are things that find your like those filters. It's like, oh, who do you most look like in your Facebook friends, and it just overlays the picture, and it's like, oh, I guess I can see it. Not really.
It's like, oh, we both have a
Um,
nose.
I guess our eyes are kind of similarly far apart, and that's about where that goes. Do a little bit of so where do these theories come from? You know, like what is the theory behind the theory?
This is always my favorite part, and not just because I wrote the notes about it. So this is a segment that we do every episode where we like Tori said, where does this come from? Why do people start believing these things? And is there any sort of basis that we can extrapolate?
Actually,
So
are they in the right? Are we in the wrong?
is there anything here that these crazy people are talking about that we could see some like what can be learned really? So let's get into doppelgangers. Doppelgangers literally translates to double goer or double walker in German. It's considered a double or a lookalike of a person, and usually it's synonymous with like an evil twin or a twin stranger, and it's often used more generally in like in a neutral fashion to describe any person who physically or behaviorally resembles another person. And the idea of an alter ego or another version of the self has been in mythology and folklore and religion throughout the entirety of history. You can go back to Egypt and, you can go all the way back. Usually doppelgangers are considered to be like a paranormal entity, and the appearance of one is usually a very, very bad omen. But a possible explanation for seeing a doppelganger, or just sort of the doppelganger phenomenon, is hyotoscopy, or autoscopy, if you do the other weird pronunciation of it, is the hallucination of seeing one's own body from a distance. So sort of like an out-of-body experience, but this is classified as a hallucination instead. And it's most commonly seen in schizophrenia or epilepsy. And then there is a version called polyopic hyotoscopy where more than one double is perceived. So lots of different versions of the self seen from a distance. And then also, I just found this interesting. I have a weird thing with mirrors. Where like I get freaked out easily with mirrors and things like that, and like seeing things in mirrors. So there is a version of this called negative hyotoscopy. It's when a person claims that they cannot see their own reflection in a mirror, but other people
Basically a
can.
vampire.
Right, so like a vampire. But other people can perceive the person, and other people can perceive their reflection in the mirror. But this one person claims that they cannot see themselves in a mirror, and I just think
Really
that
bad
is... What's that?
personalization. I said it sounds like really bad depersonalization.
Oh, it's totally linked to depersonalization and derealization. Yeah, we're in that sphere of psychiatric, I don't know, happenstances. I don't know what the word is.
I said hellscape. Psychiatric hellscape.
And then there's also the syndrome of subjective doubles, which is the delusion that a person has a doppelganger with their appearance living a separate life, and then also that sometimes the belief is that there's more than one double or several doubles out there. And frequently with that one, it's like you somehow believe that the people related to you, or like people that you thought were other people, you come to believe that they're a doppelganger of you. And so then we also found this website called twinstrangers.net, which you can go and visit. I don't know if you'd actually want to get involved in anything like this, but the premise of the website is that you upload a photo of yourself, and then it searches through their database of other people that have uploaded photos, and it tries to find somebody that looks exactly like you. And their current total is over 4 million images, and they've found some twins, apparently. So some doppelgangers. So if you're curious, I don't know what their privacy policy is. It's probably not great. I personally wouldn't do this, but hey, it's out there.
I imagine that photos were user submitted, but I also just want to say I think me and Billy are currently going through this right now. I think we're slowly coming to the realization that we are twins.
Yeah, and
Twins.
not even in
Maybe
like
we're actually clones.
yeah, like not even in like in a biological sense where we I moved, so we don't live in the same like town anymore, and we will just suddenly find ourselves doing the exact same thing, and then we'll talk to each other and then get freaked out because we realize that we're both doing the same thing. And like
Thing. The worst case was one time he messaged me asking to play Overwatch, and I was like, "Sure, let me finish this episode of The Good Place." Which, shout out, you need to watch that show if you haven't.
very good
It's really
show.
good. We were
Yeah.
both watching it.
So yeah, it turns out it was like I freaked out. I was like, dude, I'm watching the show too. And so I even sent her a photo of like this my TV, the what episode of. Tori says that she was on the exact same episode at the exact
Don't
same
think that
time.
we were, which wasn't one episode behind or anything. We weren't like just catching up on the most recent episode. We were both in the process of like catching
Catching
up
up.
with the entire.
Yeah.
It was at least 3 episodes before the most recent one.
Yeah, there was like no
So it
explanation
wasn't
for
like
us to be on the same episode at the exact same time frame. It was so bizarre.
things like that, where I basically think, yeah, I think someone lied to us. We are not 3 years apart. We are twins.
Isn't it only 2 years? I know it is
Two
3.
and some. It's like 2 and some months at least. Maybe not a full 12.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
To
old.
10. I think it's like 2 years and 10 months.
Well, I'm still in the like so I live with our little brother again and he's 14, right? Yes, 14. And
I
so
didn't know you were looking for like a response.
no, I was thinking cuz I do this every day when I think about his age. So when I last lived with him, he was like 9 years old. And so in my head, he's still kind of 9 years old even though he's not. And so it like messes me up every single day when I talk to him or when I see him. It's just and it's not fair to him at all because he's 14 now, but in my head he's still kind of 9. But anyway,
Further, the worstness of this, our little brother has a full beard that he has shaved off more than
it
once,
is
and it
not
has
a
grown
okay, it is
back.
not a full beard. All right, he's got 14-year-old facial hair. That's what he it is not a full beard.
It's pretty thick. It's not something a 9-year-old would have, neither is his voice anymore.
Yeah, but anyway,
If you met him on the street, you wouldn't confuse him for a 9-year-old boy. But
this
this is
is
another
the delusion
delusion.
that is in my head. Yeah. But moving on, so there's this also a term called the Capgras delusion because you got to have that silent S in there. This is a psychiatric disorder in which a person believes that a spouse, friend, parent, or other family member has been replaced by an identical imposter. So, this is like if Avril Lavigne's mom thought that she was replaced by somebody that looks exactly like her, something like that. Um,
Paranoia of everybody in Fallout 4.
Basically, yeah,
Everybody I love has been replaced by synths. Only it's not synths
yeah.
in this case.
It's like the synths or like the Blade Runner android sort of thing that you see in sci-fi all the time. And again, this is often found in cases of paranoid schizophrenia, brain injury, and dementia. So like a lot of older people, when their minds start to deteriorate, then this is a possible outcome. Interestingly, it occurs more frequently in females at a 3-to-2 ratio, but I couldn't find anything about why that might be.
I can tell you, you can't trust men. That's what it is.
There you go. And then, there's many cases where a person that has this Capgras delusion also believes that time has been warped or substituted. So, like, they don't even think a person was replaced. They think stretches of time in their life was replaced, which is just like I don't want to say crazy. It's just wild to me to think about. I can't even
Oh.
completely comprehend how that would work.
It's a whole eternal sunshine of the spotless mind type thing, but it's like being self-aware of it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
In
even
the
know.
movie,
And so
don't they like become aware that it happened?
I've never seen it because I know it's just gonna bum me out. So like I've never seen the movie, but I know the whole thing. So the Capgras delusion, it is also commonly believed to be a breakdown in normal facial perception, and so that just kind of happens with cases of schizophrenia or advanced dementia and things like that. There is also another delusion because we're just chock full of delusions today. It's called the Fregoli delusion. also referred to as the delusion of doubles. And here a person believes that different people are actually one singular person who changes their appearance or is in disguise. So this is basically behind the scenes of Full House.
Yeah.
And so they might as well have called this Mary-Kate and Ashley syndrome. But
Two of the same people playing the one.
yeah, the one child. And again, this is often a paranoid delusion where the believer becomes convinced that the people pretending to be one person are persecuting them or out to get them in some way, that they're conspiring in some way against them.
And the plot of at least a couple of horror movies or games, and I think it's why people are afraid of twins.
Yeah, there's like the whole mythology of
People get real
twins,
freaked out.
especially if the twins are women, because then, oh no, witches and all kinds of crap like that.
Is it The Shining?
The Shining also had some yeah, there was. You can go down the list of history. A person with the Freglia delusion can also inaccurately recall places, objects, and events. And if they see any face that is similar to a face of a person that they know, or like any kind of potentially recognizable face, that person will recall the face they're seeing now as somebody that they know. So that's sort of
We've all done that.
So that's sort of how it operates. Yeah, I guess, but like they just become stuck in that mode where that's all they can see.
Just making a joke. We've all run up to the one woman who wasn't our mother in the grocery store.
That is a terrifying 5 seconds.
Really, I mean, I'm glad to say it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Well, whenever we would go shopping, it would be the thing where I would just turn down an aisle that you didn't go down, and then you would just disappear off the face of the earth for about 10 minutes.
That's why we stopped shopping with Mom
Yeah.
together.
And so
Maybe actually by the syndrome that we're actually the same person. I didn't disappear because I am you.
Oh, don't do that to me.
I was right there the entire time as yourself.
I'm rewatching the first season of Legion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, but yeah, that fits in with a few characters on that show. So
that's us.
Carrie and Carrie.
There have been cases of this showing up throughout history and bad things happening as a result of it. A woman named Bridget Cleary, an Irish woman, was actually killed as a result of her husband and her father experiencing this with her. Convoluted, but I think Billy has a better grasp on it than I do.
Yeah, so in 1895, this Irish woman, Bridget Cleary, was killed by her husband. And so the motive for the crime was that the husband was convinced that Bridget was abducted by fairies and left with a changeling in her place. And he claimed to have only slain the changeling. And a changeling, if you don't know, is a creature from folklore, and they were believed to be fairy children that had been left in the place of a human child that was stolen by the fairies. And this whole idea of swapped children is common in sort of medieval literature, because people were concerned and didn't really understand when infants were afflicted by unexplained diseases or sort of developmental disorders and things like that, even mental or physical. So they just sort of, they came up with this myth to explain what was going on there. And so Bridget's murder was especially gruesome because she was either immolated while she was still alive, or she was set on fire immediately following her death. And so what happened was the husband and father attempted a ritual to sort of drive out this fairy. And so like they threw urine on her, and she was like put near the fireplace to sort of cast out the fairy spirit. And then rumors circulated that she was missing, and then the husband, Michael, claimed that his wife had been taken by fairies, so he was holding a vigil for her. Her burnt corpse was found in a shallow grave a few days later. That's fun.
Yeah, it's like the least fun version of... You remember Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents?
Was he the creepy teacher with the weird ear?
That creepy teacher who would just always yell fairies?
Right, yes.
This is like the horrible, real alternative of that.
Yeah.
Your wife, because you think she's been replaced by fairies. And that's really, I think it's a great note to end on, but it's actually not where we're going to end. We are introducing a new segment.
A burnt woman. Yeah, that's where we're going to end. With a burnt woman from 200 years ago.
Oh, I just thought the most horrible thing, but I would like to get a job someday, so I'm not going to make the joke on here.
That's probably for the best, but...
We're going to introduce a new segment where we just want to share with you our favorite quotes. Because a lot of the time, dissecting these articles and conspiracy theories, threads, and blogs, you just read so much quality stuff. And so I just want to share with you my favorite quote, which actually comes from the Taylor Swift AV Club article, which was actually titled, I don't think I shared this earlier, but it's titled, Never Forget Taylor Swift is Actually an Illuminati Clone. This is the last line of the article. Please keep this in mind while listening to Reputation, if so inclined. And it goes on to say, also, remember that she doesn't have a belly button.
Of course.
That's it. That's where it ends.
Who could ever forget?
It does include a hyperlink to a post from E! Online or ET Entertainment Tonight, I think, that claims that she doesn't have a belly button because you can rarely see it. It's taken back to my favorite random thought that always occurs to me, which is Kyle XY, which I know I've mentioned in an episode of this before. Kyle XY, the guy with no belly button.
Yeah, the weird like ABC Family thing.
I think it was a very long-running show. I've never seen it. I never watched it. All I know is Kyle XY was an alien because he had no belly button.
Was it long-running? Because I feel like it wasn't long-running.
Button? You have a belly button? I don't know.
No, I'm talking about the show. I don't think the show.
I think the show was only about people's belly buttons and whether or not they have one. And Taylor Swift apparently doesn't, which maybe is the result of her being the clone of Xena, or being Xena herself. We'll never know.
I guess we won't know.
But remember that. Remember that she doesn't have a belly button, and that's really what I think you can take away from this entire episode.
Yeah. So my favorite quote is, we did cover it earlier. This is back in the Avril Lavigne on the lovely, what is it, God's Productions website, whatever the hell that thing is called.
That's correct.
God's Production, that's it?
Yeah, God's Productions.
So, and it's the one dude who says, I've come to the conclusion anything like this, including the Faul conspiracy, is just the artists selling their soul to the music industry, and their way of letting the old go, and letting the new monarch be controlled being the new identity. Because I just love whenever they go immediately into MK Ultra. I love these crazy people and their butterfly obsession so much. So yeah, so that's all we got for you. We know it's been a long time in the waiting, and hopefully this episode, after editing, comes together nicely. I'm confident in my meager abilities, because we have to record remotely these days.
Basically, my sister, my brother, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's our new franchise.
Yeah, we won't get in any legal hot water for that one. But yeah, we have plenty of ideas for more shows. And if you have any for us, you can contact us on the Facebook page. You can just search for It Doesn't Add Up. You can also send...
Or socials.
Yeah, the socials. But I mean, if you found the episode, you could see all the social stuff.
Yeah, we're probably going to launch a Twitter and stuff soon. So if that's easier to tweet at us. Because a lot of stuff comes out of Twitter, so I think it's good to start our own account to have.
Yeah. And so you can always find the episodes on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, any other podcasting service or app. We are on there. So all you have to do is search. And then if you just want to find the episodes nice and easy, you can go to my website, deadendroad.co, and you can click on It Doesn't Add Up, and all the episodes are right there too. You can download them. You can do whatever. I think that's...
Meme us.
What?
Meme?
Meme? Yeah, you can meme us. I don't care. Yeah, thank you. We will be back sooner than 9 months. I guarantee it.
Maybe 7. We'll see.
Yeah.
Bye!
Life's like this. That's the way it is. 'Cause life's like this. That's the way it is. Chill out. What you yelling for? Lay back. It's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, you will see. I like you the one you are. When we're driving in your car, and you're talking to me one-on-one, but you become somebody else. Round everyone else. You're watching your back. Like you can't relax. You're trying to be cool. You look like a fool to me. Tell me, why do you have to go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this, and you fall, and you crawl, and you break, and you take what you get, and you turn it into honesty and promise me I'm never gonna find you fake it. No. You come over unannounced, dressed up like you're something else, where you aren't what it's that you see. You're making me laugh out when you strike your pose. Take off all your clothes. You know, you're not fooling anyone. When you become somebody else, round everyone else, you're watching your back, like you can't relax. You're trying to be cool. You look like a fool to me. Tell me, why do you have to go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this, and you fall, and you crawl, and you break, and you take what you get, and you turn it into honesty and promise me I'm never gonna find you fake it. No, 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 no. Chill out. What you yelling for? Lay back. It's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, you will see somebody else, round everyone else. You're watching your back like you can't relax. You're trying to be cool. You look like a fool to me. Tell me, why do you have to go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this, and you fall, and you crawl, and you break, and you take what you get, and you turn it into honesty and promise me I'm never gonna find you fake it. No, no. Why do you have to go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this, and you fall, and you crawl, and you break, and you take what you get, and you turn it into honesty and promise me I'm never gonna find you fake it. No, 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 no.